Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the Bad League, Bad Pods podcast. I'm your host, Zach Fuller. I'm here with Ben Dunn, and we have a special guest today, Cody Jackson. Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you doing over there?
I just woke up. I only have mocha coffee pods, so pretty upset about that. Not a big mocha fan. Cody, how are you?
I am opposite of you. I am about to go to bed here after this. So yeah,
All right.
enjoying my night
Nice.
shift very well.
Nice, Fuller. I meant to, uh, check in obviously here, but it looks like you made it through. Were you near the sandstorm at all? That happened
I
over the
don't,
weekend.
I don't know. I think we did get a little bit of that because all the planes at school were covered in dirt.
Oof.
Other than that, I did not see any, but yeah, it was kind of funny. I went up to fly, and one of the planes is just coated in dirt.
Hmm.
But it is extremely windy right now as I record this as well. So I mean, the wind has been really crazy the past couple weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, we
yeah,
had
it's
some
just
bad storms the past couple days out here too. So
Yeah,
glad the
it's
weekend
coming in
changed it though.
from the west basically. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah,
oh,
I know we're a big weather pod here, but let's go ahead and we did have a race last night.
we did.
Yeah, I'll let you guys go first because my race was pretty boring. I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair.
Well, must be nice, Cody. Cody, you can go ahead and start us off here
Yeah.
as our seasoned road course guy.
Yeah. Total road course extraordinary here. Actually, for like the first bit before the caution came out, me and Austin and Roten for a bit were racing each other pretty good. And then after the caution, just things what the hell. Me and Austin were racing hard. I spun it in the carousel and then just never recovered. So spent most of the day in the back there. So that was my race.
Yeah, I gotta say I'm a bit disappointed with. It's the second time on this podcast I'm gonna say I'm disappointed with an eighth place, but
Mm.
I had what I felt like was a really strong race up until the point where I screwed it up early on. Dylan and I had some really tight racing for basically every lap leading up into the random caution. We were kind of hanging on to like Christian and Donnelly in front of us, and then race each other pretty good. So that was a lot of fun. Caution came out. We went back green. We were still racing pretty good. Jack was kind of in the mix with us. Um, and then I just got like in the perfect position. Jack had some damage to his car ahead of us, so that gap was slowly closing. All I had to do was keep it straight. Dylan made some mistakes behind me, so I'm in a good position to go up and just grab a fourth place finish if I can just keep the car clean and head it into what is it? I think turn 4, the little short shoot thingy. I don't know. I guess I had a total brain fart, missed my braking zone, tried to make the corner as much as I could, and I caught that tire barrier. And I think had I just like smacked the wall and knocked the wheel out of alignment, it would have been fine. But I plowed the left front of the tire barrier and kind of did a lot of damage to the car, limped it around. Got a fast repair. Had I not
Horrible
sped,
punish you, for sure.
it was brutal, dude. And then had I not sped, after I got my fast repair, I gotta leave the pits. I see the leaders on my relative closing. I see that Austin's not too far ahead of me. Maybe I can salvage 7th. I speed on exit, drive through, 8th place a lap down. So really just kind of shit the bed. No, I just kind of shit myself actually, in that race. And disappointing night. Fuller, how did your night go?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this was definitely one of my better road course races in a while because usually on these I will like not get pole position or not get the fastest lap, but last night went pretty much perfect. So
Yeah, you swept all the bonus points. You got
Yeah,
both. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. Pole
clean
position,
sweep for you.
led every lap, fastest lap, and the win. So, um,
Fastest lap by half a second as well.
yeah, in pole
Uh,
position,
a
I
third into the
got
lap.
pole position by half a second too, but I don't think that was super accurate. I think Owen definitely could have been closer. But I think just with the walls being so close, you just tap the wall a little bit too hard, and that's a 0x. So I think he definitely had the pace to be closer than that. But yeah, first win of the season. Hopefully we can keep it going. Apparently, I'm not going to get a whole lot of poles this season on the oval, so I really wanted to get the pole um,
Um,
last night. So
apparently Fuller, or I'm sorry, Roten brought up a good point that apparently since this is our first race since season one. I did not fact check him, but this is apparently our first race since season one where we've had 0 lead changes.
Wow,
So
really,
good job on a good job on a
wire to
dominant
wire.
race. Your average running position was one. It was
yeah.
first. So
I
I
looked
mean, just a successful night for
Aaron's
you.
sheet. You know how it has the lap graph.
Mm-hmm.
The top three never changed positions.
Oh wow.
Yeah, me,
Must be
Owen, and
nice.
Christian. We were all there, and I guess we'll get into how people did later. But yeah. Anyways, so where are we going from here?
Yeah, I think with the road course like this week you know, we introduced our new procedures for qualifying and
Yep.
for the race. Qualifying procedures were basically just that sense of realism we kind of covered last week, as well as the in the race we had a random caution to kind of bring the field together. What was your guys' thoughts on how that went? And after that, we'll kind of talk about what we think it's going to be at a different track other than Chicago.
I didn't hate it, honestly. The qualifying was interesting. A lot of people were struggling and some people crashed. I saw. I managed somehow to keep it together and didn't hit the wall at all during qualifying, so that was good.
Love that.
Nice.
Honestly, overall, I really liked this track, despite never driving it before and how tight it is. Once I got some laps on it, it wasn't bad. It was pretty fun. So it was a,
Yeah.
overall pretty good session.
Yeah,
Fuller.
I loved the way qualifying went. Um,
Me too,
I
man.
feel like the way we did it before, the 10-minute open qualifying, where you could just pull over and reset. It kind of took away the spirit of open qualifying for me. I mean, it was still open qualifying, but this is more strategic. You gotta, do an in lap and time your out laps and stuff. So I was a big fan of that. And then the race with the random caution, we had it come out early, so it set up kind of a long run to the finish, which I really like. And I think it was definitely more exciting from an entertainment standpoint. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't really have a preference. I think whether we do it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I do like when it goes green all the way. You can kind of, if you're racing with somebody, you can try to undercut them, and this kind of takes that out. But it does have a restart in this, and that is fun. So I think there's
Yeah.
pros and cons to it. But I thought it went well. I thought I was kind of nervous, like Aaron's software was not going to work, and it wasn't going to throw the fucking caution, and then we were going to just be all just out there. But it worked well, and yeah, it was cool to have a restart in a road course race. I mean, we'd never done that before, so
yeah, I
It'll come out pretty well at Watkins Glen, I feel like too.
yeah,
yeah, I think it was I really think the qualifying thing was the move. That was I think just pretty cool. It put a lot of emphasis on that qualifying. I know Jack had a problem early in qualifying.
hmm
I mean, he sat through 7 minutes of damage repair just to try to go back out just to get a lap so that he wasn't starting in last. Like
yeah,
that's kind of cool. That's
it's
something that's
cool.
never happened before in the past. Jack would have just towed that car and gone back out on track and probably, you know, just had a breeze of qualifying to go qualify about where he did, right? So like
Yeah,
it was kind of cool to see people. I mean, it bit me in the ass. I gave myself a little bit of wheel damage, and I think I had about 40 seconds of damage, and I was running short on time. I didn't take that damage, and I just took tires and went out and tried to qualify with a little bit of wheel damage. So like just that aspect of it, I think a credit to everybody in the race and in qualifying for calling out pit entries. There was a lot of communication during qualifying for where people were, which I thought was really cool and helpful for everybody else. Everybody did a good job of kind of looking out for each other all night with
Hmm.
pit entries and maybe even rejoins. I think we were. It seemed like everybody that was there was really good at paying attention to their relative and not causing any issues on those pit exits. And then again, just kudos to everybody during the race on the main start and the restart for not having any
Yeah.
pileups. You know, we talked about it. I think we talked about it on here. We talked about it. You know, everybody talked about it leading into the race. Like, oh man, there's going to be a track blocker. This is the place where it's going to happen. Blah blah blah. And it didn't. So,
Yeah.
um, I'd say fairly clean race from everyone who was there. It was a lot of fun. And I personally, you know, I think it went well. I know we are going to bring in our race control here and chat with Aaron, get his thoughts on it
Yeah. Let's do it.
and thoughts on the season so far um, in a second. But yeah, I think that was really good. As Cody alluded to, I thought it was a fun road course as well. It's not,
Super fun.
yeah, it's not the greatest street circuit in the world, but man, it's fun. It's a fun little layout.
Yeah, I was
It's
surprised that we didn't have a big pile up, so like that made it a lot more fun.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
a
Everybody
Mario
drove
Kart
very
track.
respectful.
I mean, it's so simple. That layout, I guarantee, if you go on Mario Kart, is on the game.
Yeah, the shape is.
Yeah,
You're right. It does
it's
look like a Mario Kart.
if you just throw some toads in the crowd and maybe a couple of boost jumps, that's you're there.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I feel like I got red shelled last night when I went to hit the brakes and
Oh
just
god.
didn't
you
make that
slipped on
corner.
a banana, I
That's
think, man.
dude. I mean, I had the little ink blotch on the
Yeah,
screen, and I missed my braking zone. That's I mean, it was something happened.
huge
Jeez.
bummer, huge bummer.
Let's move on. We got our guest here. We got Aaron in the booth coming into the booth here. I want to get his thoughts on what he saw last night and what he has seen so far this season.
Let's go.
Aaron, welcome, welcome. You're here on the
Hey,
pod, race control.
how's it going?
How we
It's
doing,
fine.
man? We wanted to
All right,
bring
can
you
you
in
guys?
and do a little what?
I was like, can you hear me okay? I just want to make sure because I am
Yeah, there we
remote
go.
right now.
Yeah,
There he
you're
is.
all. Yep, we hear you now. We wanted to just bring you in and kind of get some thoughts on what you thought about last night with the new procedures, and just kind of do a check in on the season with how you're seeing things from up in the race control booth.
Last night's race was kind of fun to watch. I do like the random caution. It was cool to see, especially with the software I have. I can check to see if I can look when it's coming out, but I kind of like the little surprise. So it was nice. I was watching
Yeah,
the battle between Owen and Fuller last night, and it seemed like Owen was catching him a little, but Fuller was pulling away. It was going back and forth, and then that caution came out, so it threw a whole new wrench into it. And it was, I don't know how like Fuller you felt it, or Ben and Cody you guys felt in the car, but yeah, it just like kind of threw me off guard. I was like, oh man, it's gonna throw a whole new wrench into things. It was nice.
yeah.
I
It
think you're right.
it with Owen being right behind me, I think when the caution came out, I was like, okay, because Owen kind of burned his tires off towards the end of that run, and when the caution comes out, I'm like, oh man, I hope he didn't learn what to do, and then now he's gonna be like right up my ass for the rest of the race.
You see, I kind of love that, right?
Yeah, no, I mean that's exciting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think like for me, I don't know if you guys felt it, but I kind of almost was humbled by the caution a little bit. To Aaron's point, it really kind of did throw a wrench in things. Like I was driving really really well before it came out, and I
hmm
was holding Dylan off, and we were having a good little race, and I felt like I was just comfortable. I found a good pace and whatnot. And then caution comes out. I think I had made a mistake. I slightly looped it or something. Caution came out. Dylan got ahead of me, and before that caution came out, once it came out, I kind of thought to myself, all right, well, here's the time to regroup. Let's see if I can just get back in front of him and just get back to what I was doing. And for some reason, after the caution, it wasn't the same. I wasn't driving the same. I wasn't able to find that comfort zone I was in the first time. So it really kind of held me in a sense where I thought that I could just go green and get right back to it.
yeah,
And it was kind of different. Like I wasn't able to, uh, be as comfortable or find that comfort zone as easy after the caution. Do you guys kind of feel anything with that? I think that's a good point Aaron brought up.
Yeah, like I talked about, my first stint was pretty good. I was keeping it together, and then that second one, I think I just got too comfortable or overconfident, and I sent it in the carousel on Austin, and the thing just spun. It was
Yeah.
too fast. It didn't go in too right, so it
Yeah,
just didn't feel comfortable.
I felt more comfortable after the caution came out because it was like a 30-minute run to the end, and that's what I wanted, right? Like I
Yeah.
wanted a long run because I think my strong suit on these road courses is keeping the tires on it. I wish I could do that better on the ovals, but uh, I wanted a long run to the end so I could show that. So once that came out, I was more comfortable. But I do see what you're saying.
I do like that with the randomness of it coming out, it does kind of produce the possibility of a long run like that.
Yeah,
I don't think we've ever had that. Most of our road course races are just you go, whether it's laps or timed, you go, you split it right down the middle, and
yeah,
then you finish because we don't ever make the races like crazy long where like something like that can become a strategy, right? Just because
yeah,
we don't need to be racing a road course for 2 hours, like
No,
so, but like it's kind of interesting that that's also the first time where we really even discussed the option of like, okay, this is going to be a long run at a road course. Like we've
yeah,
never really been in that kind of situation because, like I said, you're just split it down the middle, so each run is just what it is, and then you're done. So,
yeah.
like it could be a little later, and then that first
The first
run is
one's
30
long. Yeah,
minutes, or like that second one's 30, or it could fall right in the middle. I mean, I do kind of think that's kind of a cool thing that it added by doing that.
talking
Yeah,
about
it's like
the.
another.
Go ahead.
Oh, God.
Oh,
I was gonna say that's another thing I really like about it is like you have Owen like burning up his tires in the very beginning. You don't know like okay, well if he burns up his tires early, then he has he could be anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes where he has to drive on those and try to hold second at least or something.
Right.
mhm.
Or you got a different strategy there, so you could try to save your tires in the beginnings to hopefully catch up to somebody, or you might have just saved for nothing.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I think like what you said, Fuller, about you know him. Did he learn from that? Was he able to?
Yeah,
Is he able to adjust in that second stint, knowing that it's going to be a little longer? What's that going to look like? Um, very. That's kind of the mentality I had when I was in that second stint. Was once we started, it was like, okay, well, I'm not going to panic here. I'm going to just kind of run my laps and run my pace and see if the field comes back to me on the longer run because once I saw my early tire wear, I felt like I did okay. It wasn't too bad, wasn't too great, but I felt like it was kind of where I needed to be and that I could continue driving on it. So I backed it down a little bit. Dylan and Drucker were battling. They made all kinds of mistakes. Like I said, everything fell right into my lap, and then I screwed it all up. But I think I had the right idea before that happened.
whatever happened
Um,
by the end of it, though, it seemed like half the field was wrecked or had some sort of problems by the end of it there. So,
A lot of beat up cars for sure.
oh
yeah.
yeah.
Aaron, have you felt, in regards to the rest of the season being up there in race control, how have you kind of seen things go, and what are your thoughts on how the season has been so far?
It's a pro and con. Like the pros are like I can actually see everything, and it's nice to like being in the position of like a race, and it's like you spin. It's like, well, there goes my race. There's no caution. Like, what are we supposed to do here? It's nice to I can actually help the drivers that are that do make a mistake and that should be a caution, and their whole night isn't ruined because iRacing doesn't do their thing.
Hmm.
And it's
Right.
also bad being in my position because I'm focused on crashes and everything, and it's really sucks when we're at like Texas or some good. There's a great race up front, and I want to watch that, but I can't because I feel like if I'm gonna watch that race, I'm gonna miss Austin and Cody wreck each other or something. No offense, Cody. I was just,
I hope not.
Jesus.
but like that's the pros and cons of it. It's nice, but it also like there's great races we've had this year, and I'm not able to watch them, and it sucks in a little bit.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you, sacrificing that though to make sure that everything is good. Um,
Providing us a good service for us.
exactly.
Yeah, it's part of the job.
You're doing a good thing up there. I think you've done a good job so far. I know that it's not always easiest to make judgment calls on cautions, but I think you've done a pretty good job with them. Um,
Yeah.
but for what would be a caution in real life is a caution in our races, and we haven't. I don't think we've missed any of those. So
especially for somebody who doesn't watch a ton of NASCAR in real life as well. Um, the cautions have been spot on, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that was an adjustment for sure for me
Yeah.
because I watch a lot of like F1 and Indy or not IndyCar but IMSA. So it's going
Yeah.
from F1 where you have that's my corner to NASCAR where it's anybody's corner. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my corner, but a little more forcefully.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, with a
it's
little
my corner
little
with an exclamation point.
exactly a little less love, a little less
And
sometimes a little less respect. You never know.
corners misspelled also.
Jeez.
Yes, and their paint
Depends on what
schemes,
part of the
not
world you're
not liveries.
Yeah.
Always remember that.
Right.
tire with a Y.
Yeah.
Aaron, what do you think going forward? You excited to see that we got a good little stretch coming up here of Atlanta, Bristol, All Star, Dover, Darlington. Those can be
Oh boy.
those are some tracks where the cars can be a handful. It's probably the toughest
Yeah.
stretch of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. Atlanta's fun. I really like that track. The new configuration's pretty good. The old configuration, I like that driving it. Bristol, I think it's gonna be fun. A lot of beating and banging. That's gonna be a busy night for me for sure.
Definitely.
It's a short track in
Uh,
CRS. What do you expect?
exactly. Has the
Hurts
All
my
Star
heart.
been announced yet?
I will be later in the show here in this segment. So
Okay.
nothing yet, but you know what to come. And you want to just give some without spoiling anything. Just give what do you think?
I think that race control is going to have a night off, and there's going to be another car in the field.
That's exactly what I
Oh,
wanted you to say.
Ooh.
beautiful stuff.
Hmm.
Well, that gives us something to hang our hats on until we get to that segment of the show. Do we got anything else for Aaron?
Think I think I'm all good, man. I just I like doing some check-ins with race control here, Aaron.
Yeah.
You don't mind coming on every now and then and just kind of, especially maybe if we have some spicy races or something, we'll try to get you on. But I like checking in with race control and
Holler talk.
yeah, seeing what
Exactly.
hearing things from your point of view. So I appreciate that.
No problem. Anytime.
Yeah,
All
thanks,
right,
buddy.
brother. You have a
I
good
love
rest
you.
of your day.
I really love you.
It's a good check in. I mean, it's you always want to hear kind of different
Yeah.
POV of how our races are going, and to have that now is a blessing. So
Yeah.
thanks to Aaron for all he does for us for that.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get into kind of talking about some people's race last night. I mentioned it, I think, briefly earlier. Christian in third. I felt like this was probably the best I've ever seen him run on a road course. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's obviously good at road courses, but he hung up there with Owen and me for most of that. Probably about half of that second run. He was right there, a few seconds behind us. Ended up falling off a little bit at the end, but he brought it home third, so that was good.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
solid.
it was a zero incident race for him and Owen, which at
Yeah.
that track is tough. So kind of cool to see there that they were able to keep it clean to the point where they never even touched the wall hard enough to give themselves any points. So very clean driving by the
I'm
two
just
of them.
seeing I had 2 incident points. I wonder what that's from. Oh,
Mm.
that must have been
Contact,
after.
contact.
It was after when I was doing donuts. I did donuts
That's
immediately.
why you don't
Yeah,
have that 150. That's what it
that
is.
must be. Yeah,
It's got to be.
that must be.
Um, yeah, good solid race in the top three. If
Yep.
you look down 4 and 5, I mean, again, it's Donnelly always surprises me with finishes sometimes because I watched him like destroy that car at the end of the first run, and
Yeah, he
then
pit really early.
I'm amazed
yeah,
he finished that high, considering how that was going that first
e-
half.
exactly, and then in the second half he wasn't, he restarted behind me, and I thought in no time that Dylan and I were gonna have Donnelly as company, and he never really kind of got back up there. So to see that he rebounded and was able to finish fifth, I know he was a while behind Jack, and me stuffing into the wall probably helped a lot, but um, still to just hang on through all the
Yeah,
crap he went through early on and finish that strong, a good night for him. And right below him, our good buddy Zach Roten, who's just been uh, performing pretty well this season
yeah,
across the board.
big time.
Had I think what he said was his best road course race ever. Finished on the lead lap. Only 2 incident points out of Roten. Um, you know, solid night.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I know Roten went and apparently he was pretty quick in practice yesterday. So yeah, big props to him. This we should have checked on this, but this has got to be his best finish on a road course.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
It's-
he's usually running with me, so he's probably higher than that.
A lot of
I'm on it.
improvement.
Give me 1 sec.
Yeah, and then Jack Drucker in fourth. We should be mentioned about our points leader bringing home a fourth place. He coming into this, I mean, I don't. We're still getting to know Jack and like what he's good at and stuff. But coming into this, he was not super excited about the road course. So I think that was below everybody's expectations
Mhm.
to come in fourth, or above everybody's expectations to come in fourth. So a good night
Could
for
have
him.
freaking came in 5th. Damn it.
Roten had a fifth.
No, I said he should have freaking came in 5th.
Yeah.
That was my
Well,
own
yeah. So
justification.
you would have been in fourth had you not been to.
I don't know. I still had to catch him. He had some wheel damage and he was like slowly falling back to me, but I
Yeah.
also wasn't pushing to get to him because I knew he had the damage. So I mean anything could have happened once I got there. I still would have had to complete the pass, but I think I would have
Right.
gotten there had I kept it clean. Because I had just been closing that gap slowly over time and eventually I figured, we had some time left in the race when I did that. So eventually I figured that all that damage was going to eat up his tires in different ways and eventually get the best of him and allow me to catch up. But like I said, I would have still had to complete the pass. So I mean, I'm just saying that to be insulting
Right.
about my own mistakes. So nothing there really. I will say real quick, I did look it up. Roten did have a 6th place finish prior at Homestead in the ARCA car, but
I believe there were 6 people in that race.
there you nailed it. So so this based on the number of people in the race, this was his best finish
Right.
ever on a road course. He's had a couple 10th place finishes, but again, that was probably where we had smaller fields, and he's not too
Yeah.
proud of those. I think he can hang his hat on a good run here.
Yeah, definitely.
Again,
A solid year
having
for him so far.
yeah, it really is, and again, you know, completing every lap, finishing on the lead lap, 2 incident points to come from someone who would be in a nice way to say an early exiter in some of these road course races.
Right.
A solid night for him.
Well, yeah, I feel like this season he's been putting in the effort to kind of improve, and I mean it's obviously showing. All right, so I think we're good on Chicago. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings. I will share my screen here, and yeah.
You
So
have
can you?
drop weeks. You have the drop week standings. I'm looking at the current standings on Sim Racer Hub, and we'll kind of compare the two.
Cool. So yeah, drop week standings. We got Jack Drucker still in the lead, although that the lead has shrunk with just a bigger sample size. But you can see all 4 of his scores are. He has 1 second place and 2 wins, one of which was a Grand Slam win. So he's got a very large score. These next 2 weeks are really gonna. I think they'll really show us kind of the championship picture going in after the All Star break. I improved with the drop weeks with that one. Dylan basically scored 26 points last night, even though he got a 10. He got that the 26 was added to his score, so he's up there in third or second rather. I'm in third, just ahead of Owen. And Owen, if you see his last 4 results are the scores that count. So Owen true to form with a poor start, and then slowly getting better as the season progresses.
Yeah, it's cool to see these how they are, and kind of see where we stand on those. Let me get Cody back in the mix here. Cody, welcome back. Sorry for the technical issues you had there, but we're just diving into the points here. Fuller's looking at the drop week points. So yeah, it's always kind of interesting to see where these stand. I'm currently giving up a 14-point race, so I know that I can improve where I am.
Yeah.
There, I think. But hey,
That is kind of the
That
nice thing about
30
having
40
like
point races. So.
having like a couple of low drops is
Yep.
you're basically improving from there on. Like with the scores you're actually scoring. Now, like
Yep.
in in Dylan's case, right? He scored a 10 last night, so he adds 26 points to his score. So
Yeah.
that is kind of like an improvement, I guess. But I guess it makes the math a little bit easier. I'm just looking at fifth place through like 13th, separated by 20 points. That's
Yeah.
uh, that's going to be really tight, and I think that that sort of all those guys in the races are most of them I would say have speed to like go up there and win. So that can be a huge jump, but it's so tight. It kind of reminds me of like the F1 midfield, like how close everybody is. It's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
It's
all usually racing with each other, so I feel like
Yeah,
we'll have some close battles for points there. A couple of people are gonna have some races they want back.
yeah,
Not gonna mention my run at Chicagoland, but like people will have weeks that they're gonna be good, so it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out.
yeah. I think going forward, especially with what I may mention too, and we'll touch on that next. With the next 4 races coming up, if we exclude, skip over the All Star week, just exclude that. We got a tough little stretch right here.
yeah,
So I look forward. A lot of driving needs to be done to kind of survive this stretch of 4 kind of
Mm.
more difficult tracks. So I'm excited to see. I think the points are really going to get mixed up. I know we said we're going to kind of recap the first bit of the season with the drop weeks at the All Star break. So
yeah,
with Atlanta and Bristol in the mix, even that a lot of things could jump around and move around. So um, I think drop week points you covered a lot there. I don't really have a lot to add with our other regular season points. Just kind of interesting to keep an eye on the differences between the two and see, you know, how that starts to kind of pan out as we get closer to the season. But what do you guys think? Atlanta. I'll jump to the guy who has most recently won in this league at
mm,
Old Atlanta first, and
mm.
kind of get your thoughts on what you think is gonna, unfold next week.
I'm excited. I love Old Atlanta. It's one of my favorite tracks in the entire circuit. Um, Mixing it with the Xfinity car is going to be interesting. I ran a few laps this morning. Feels weird. It's a little
I'd say, do you
tight.
still have it or what? Like, come on,
I'm
Yeah.
hoping. I
I
don't know.
think the
We'll see.
setup is super tight.
Yeah, it's
nice,
very tight. It's not the next gen car. Tire saving is going to be pretty big. It usually is here
massive,
at
yeah.
Atlanta. So if you can manage that, you can manage to have a good finish for sure.
I think it is slated to be a little bit shorter of a
Yeah,
race
just
than
seeing
we've
that.
done in the past. But I think a big reason that I kind of also wanted to keep that a little on the lower end was because I think the tire strategy is really going to come into play here. If we get some cautions that mix things up, whether it's early on or later on, I think we're gonna have a lot of people doing some stuff to try and sit on a set in case we have a late run or I'm sorry, a late caution where we got to have a quick run and people want tires. I
Absolutely.
think tire strategy is going to play huge. Only having those 4 sets this week it's going to be one of the most important of the season for where you use those tires.
Yeah, this track eats them up. So make sure that you save as much as you can. Save it for the right time, and then go whenever it's the green light's on.
Yeah, and I
I'm really
think
hoping.
with the setup being super tight, um, that in my mind at least, I feel like maybe we won't have a ton of cautions, but it's just when they're gonna fall. You know that
Hmm.
yeah, if you burn a set, if we get a caution like 20 laps in, that's gonna be a big headache. Because I feel like 20 laps at Atlanta, you have to pit, right?
Yeah,
But
20
if
laps at Atlanta
Oh,
is like
absolutely.
60 laps at Charlotte.
right, but if these races have gone the way that they've gone on the mile and a halfs, you probably wouldn't want to pit.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be a headache for sure.
It's
I
gonna be
think
interesting.
it's I'm gonna also hope for some long run racing, judging by our
Yeah,
past here, specifically at this Atlanta, if you can believe it, we've only ever had 2 cautions in the 2 races that we ran.
Yeah.
So season 8, season 9 were it was in next gen season 8, ARCA car season 9. Cody won that next gen race. Jared was our winner in the ARCA car, but we ran 120 and 122 laps, so the races are about the same as we've done,
Yeah.
and we only have 1 caution in each race. So I think we want we want to see long green flag runs here. I think it makes it really interesting, especially with this car where tire saving in the next gen wasn't as much needed, and in the ARCA car as well, a little less speed, so not as much of a priority. But man, it's going to be the priority next week, I think.
Yeah.
For sure.
So it's tough track, going to be fun. Look forward to it. All our mile and a half has been good this year, so
Should
I
we
think,
start doing race predictions for our races?
Mm, I mean, I feel like
I don't know.
we're a little biased, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you pick yourself, then that doesn't that kind of add more pressure?
Yeah, a little bit. You're right.
Yeah, let's throw out a prediction. I have mine.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. My prediction to win is going to be Dylan, because we just talked about the tire saving strategy and stuff, and he is always very extreme with the tire saving. Um, so yeah, if we get a long run, I think he's going to be really tough to beat.
Yep, that's exactly where I was going to go with my pick as well. I got Dylan going this week, and then my long shot of the week is myself because I love this track,
There you
and
go.
I also love tire saving. So we'll see what happens. But yeah,
I'll go
in
with
reality,
I'll go with Drucker as like
nice.
a favorite, and then myself as an underdog, just for the fact I like this track. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a different
past
car.
winner,
So it's a different car, so we'll see how it goes.
past winner. These are good picks for us to make for Owen to just smoke everybody by 15 seconds.
Owen definitely,
and
like, it's the same thing with Dylan. Like, they're both very good at these tire saving deals, and I mean, everything we just talked about could go in the trash can if we get a caution with like 15 to go, and some people have a
oh,
set, some
it's
people
so
don't.
on.
I mean, it's at that point,
Safety
it's
first,
really
yeah.
really could be anybody. It just depends on. It's kind of like this Vegas race that we'll get into here in a minute about just it's just how the strategy shakes out, and do you pit or do you not?
Yep, exactly. And last but not least, I think it'll be really interesting too if we have to run the bottom or if the top's available or if you have to move up once the track gets worn in. Now that this track wear is here, I think it's gonna throw some wrenches and things. We'll keep an eye on the weather and the activity on the track and see how that
Mm,
affects ourselves
mm,
heading into this week. But yeah, I think if we got to move around the track, who can adapt the best and who can do that. I think that could really open things up as well, rather than just if we're painting the bottom. That is a race where I do think that if we're painting the bottom, Owen will have a good chance
yeah, I
to do
agree.
so because he's one of the best at doing that. I think the only reason that he wasn't my first pick is just because if we have to move around and move up the track, he's much stronger on the bottom than he is in the middle or top lanes around
Yeah.
around the circuit. So we'll see what happens. It should be interesting.
Yep.
Um,
Well, do we want to
Yeah,
get
let's
into
get into
the?
we can get in let's get into NASCAR right after I just want to let you guys know a
Yeah.
little all-star throwback week announcement. We're doing obviously that is 2 separate things, not the same. Don't
Right.
want to
Okay.
get
I
it
was gonna
confused,
ask
but
that.
yeah, no, two separate weeks. But I want to just let everyone know the pod gets to hear it first before Discord does because we promote our product. That's what we do around here.
It's good marketing.
But yeah, exactly. If you want to know, listen to the podcast. Boom.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. So All Star Week. Actually, we'll go throwback first because throwback's going to happen first. So Bristol,
Mm.
we will make it official. Bristol is going to be throwback week. Run your favorite schemes from the past, whether they are Xfinity or a Cup scheme that has made its way onto the Xfinity car. Bristol under the lights is, I think, a perfect place to do so. And we had some requests from some others wanting to get involved and do some throwback weeks. So let's definitely, let's get everyone in on it. Let's bring back some good schemes that we love. Like I said, whether it's Xfinity or just any scheme in the past that you like. Go out and find it on Trading Paints, make it yourself, whatever you got to do. Sedlo Designs, I believe, is always open. So got to plug the sponsors.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, it's Going to be fun. Like I said, Bristol under the lights. Jack's been getting some good photos this season for
Oh
us.
yeah,
And
big
I
time.
think he'll get some really good ones with some throwback schemes that night before we beat them all to hell and the cars end up looking terrible. So that is Bristol, our Bristol race. So it's about 2 weeks away. You got some time to get working or searching for a scheme if you'd like. And that should be a lot of fun. And after Bristol, we head into our All-Star break. The All-Star race this year, going to keep it simple. I will admit part of the reason that I had kept it slightly simple was in the hopes that maybe race control would want to come do the race,
Right.
or if you needed to take a week off, whatever, that it was something manageable by admins who were in the race, which is what we're going for here. So we are headed, as I kind of gave a clue to last week, we're headed to Atlanta, the new Atlanta,
Oh,
for
okay.
All Star Week.
Quick repave
So
there.
yeah, Xfinity, yeah, they're gonna do it in a week. It's
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 almost
how
like we were just there.
Shout out
that's
to
how they
SMI.
roll. Yeah, they're efficient this year. We pay good money for this, so I mean I'm glad they're gonna be able to get it done.
Right.
But yeah, we're racing New Atlanta in the Xfinity car. The pack racing's fun in the Xfinity car, and who knows how the setup or the track is going to drive. Um, in its current state, will it still kind of race like a super speedway? We'll see. I don't know. It should be a lot of fun. So we'll do our classic 2 sessions. We're gonna have an open race. So the open race is going to be for everyone who was a non-winner from the last season or the current season, or people who have not won an All-Star race in the past. So everyone will make the main. It's not like we're going to kick anybody out. Basically, the way it's going to work is that the open finish is going to set the outside row for the race,
Okay.
and the drivers who are locked in will do qualifying in the main race, and they will set the inside row. So this is going to be something we're going to kind of just grid ourselves and police ourselves at the initial beginning of the race. But yeah, the open race, 25 laps, no extra sets of tires, no required pit stops,
Oh,
no
wow, okay.
fuel. We'll have enough fuel, all that good stuff. So that should be a fun little race. I know that people like to watch the open race because
Yeah.
the guys who win races on a regular basis are out, and now we got a bunch of other guys going for it who may not typically do so. So it's fun to watch. It's fun to be a part of. I haven't been locked into an All-Star race in a while, so I've had a lot of fun in these in the past. Our main race, shortly after that, like I said, our locked-in guys will be the only ones that qualify on track, and then we'll take the grid and grid ourselves. We are going to do 60 laps with 3 stages. So we are going to have a 10-lap, 15-lap shootout to begin the race, 10 and 15 to start the race, and then we're going to end it on a 35-lap run. There will be only 2 extra sets of tires for the main race, and there is going to be an adjustment to the fuel tank size. So basically, to force, if you took gas, if you took a full tank, my idea is you take a full tank at the end of stage 2. That full tank will not last through the 35-lap run if we stay green. So essentially, it's going to be a small enough tank to force a pit stop in stage 3 if it stays green the entire time. So that should mix it up because green flag pit stops on super speedways are always kind of fun. Atlanta has that new update with the backstretch pit stop or pit lane, so that could be interesting. So basically, that's the whole idea. There is that if you take a full tank and that stays green, um, we will have to make a pit stop. There are going to be unlimited green white checkers in the race. Just kind of
Nice.
spice things up at the ending in case we don't have a nice clean green finish. We'll just have chaos. Screw it. It's an off week. It doesn't count. Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
And then last but not least is there's going to be a full field choose cone on all cautions.
Nice.
So
Nice.
very exciting stuff to look forward to as we learned Aaron's going to be racing. So yeah, it should be fun. A nice little week off, little exhibition race.
Yeah, look forward to it.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I think that's a solid All-Star race. Yeah, so I think after the All-Star announcement there, I think we're good on CRS. We'll move into some real life racing. I think Cody, you actually have to duck out of here, so we'll let you go here. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on. Sorry for the early exit. I was excited to talk about my time in Vegas. It was a good race. I'll say that. Great weather. But yeah, thanks for having me on, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah, man,
Yeah, man.
we'll get you on here again here soon. Hopefully, maybe it's for a win.
Hopefully.
All right. Well, yeah, let's get into the cup race, Ben. I think you how first of all, how was the French broadcast? Because you were up in
Well, it
Canada, and I didn't even know we had a French broadcast. Like, are they at the racetrack
no,
on the
so
French
it was kind of
broadcast?
it was weird. So I didn't catch a whole lot of the sound of it, mainly just because of all places, I was on a trip this weekend in to Montreal for work, and I was basically what happened was that we were at a bar on Sunday and getting some drinks and food and whatnot, and I look up and the largest TV in the bar had NASCAR on, and
Hell
like the
yeah!
players, like the big golf tournament happening on the weekend, like was on like the smaller TV. There were people like locked in and like watching it, and I'm just like, what in the world?
Oh, they were
So
locked into the NASCAR race.
yeah, it was the Fox broadcast, but the sound that I heard, I've been making the joke that I don't know if it was French or what it was, but it was not the commentators that I heard was not. It didn't sound like Clinton Kevin. I don't know. It was weird. So I didn't hear a whole lot of it anyway. Um, but what I could hear, I was like, huh, that's not
Interesting.
Kevin and Clint. But yeah, it was regardless. I was shocked to see that, I was going to be able to watch most of this race in a bar in Canada. I never would have thought that.
That's
Shout out
interesting.
to the
People were locked in on it.
yeah, shout out to them. I mean, dude, they were like no one was asking to change it. Like I said, it was on the biggest TV in the bar. So it was I was looking around just kind of like eyeballing people who were just like watching the TV like constantly while they were hanging out at the bar there. And that was just kind of cool to see, in a place where you think
Yeah.
maybe you don't see it. I know they come out and support, Canadian Tire every time we go there. They love their NASCAR, but it was just yeah, it was cool to see.
Well, dude, I can't get NASCAR on a big screen here. That's never gonna happen. And I mean, I know I'm in Texas. It's probably different on the East Coast, but here it's like if you ask, like we're let's say Buffalo Wild Wings, they have 160 TVs in the damn place, and I'm
Yep.
like, hey, there's two golf tournaments going on. Can we like change out one? There's women's college billiards on. Can we put NASCAR on instead of that? Like,
Yeah.
and they're like, yeah, I'll go check, and it never happens because people just look at you so weird um, when you want to watch NASCAR. So
I I agree. I mean, dude, I live in South Carolina, and sometimes I have to ask, and people are like, "The what?" And I'm like, "Dude, don't do this to me."
yeah, I mean it's that's why I usually watch at home because I just don't want to deal with all that.
Yep.
But yeah, that's fun to hear actually. What type of what it
So
was?
you're gonna,
Go ahead.
you, I was gonna say you're gonna be our Fox reporter this week because I did not hear most of the race. So I watched a good chunk of it, but I did not hear
Yeah,
nearly any of it.
well, you didn't miss much. It was not an all-time great broadcast, as you can probably assume. We'll just get our weekly Fox bitching out of the way early. Um, yeah, just a lot of commercials this week. Which I
I
felt
noticed that.
I felt like usually when they're on FS1, aren't they supposed to have less commercials because that's like cable, so people are
Yeah,
paying
you
for
would
it.
think so.
Like on a there's this the amount of commercials we had this week was a big Fox level of amount of commercials. That's why I feel like it caught me off guard. Um, I put this note down here. I can't remember when this was, but they cut away for the battle for the lead. I think Larson was battling with I believe it was
That
when
Bubba.
Bubba was leading, and
Yeah.
Larson was chasing him down. They're chasing him down, and it's like, oh man, he's about to pass him. They cut away and show freaking Logano for 20th, and then they come back and Larson's in the lead, and it's like, dude, who's making these decisions? Like they are
Yeah.
battling for the lead. Why would you cut away to show 20th place? Or at least do that stupid side by side thing that they do. Um, but they don't. Um,
Apparently, the guy who's controlling the race is no longer doing it. I think I heard last night.
oh, is that right?
Yeah, I believe Roten said that the guy who is the race director and has been like forever is no longer doing it.
Well,
So interesting.
that
We'll
could either be
see
good or
what
bad.
happens with that.
I
Yeah,
mean, I
right.
don't think we can get much worse, but yeah,
But
hopefully they have somebody in there who knows NASCAR. I mean, that's the thing about this. It just seems like the TV direction just doesn't understand NASCAR.
hmm
Um, and
I,
just some of the
you know,
choices they make are just wrong. I mean,
yeah, I'm with you on that, and I think I don't know. Maybe I'll have some optimism going forward, only to be crushed next week. But it's okay.
No, that no. Hearing that news, I hadn't heard that, and that does give me some hope here coming up for this next race.
So, like, now we got the negative bitch out of the way for
Yeah, that's
Fox. We can
fine.
actually talk about the real race itself. Josh Berry, man, how cool was that?
Yeah, awesome
What a
drive
win.
from him. He was up in the top 5 for most of the race, battling with Logano for a lot of the race. They actually did highlight that on the broadcast. They've been battling most of the race, and then yeah, with that late caution, Suarez leading. Suarez had a great run.
Yeah.
He was up in the top 5 for like the entire second half of the race. I know it's a lot about track position and stuff, but you got to give props to the team as well for getting him out there. They had a few really good pit stops. But unfortunately, yeah, for him, late in the race, that the Penske car that Josh Berry is driving and that Harrison Burton has been driving for the past 3 years overpowered the Trackhouse car, and also Josh Berry obviously did a great job going up there and passing him, and as soon as he passed him, he just took off, and yeah,
Yeah,
what a
it was
great run.
wild. Yeah, like you said, like I think I asked the question like during the race. I was like, look, did this 21 card just get some more help? Did it get more sponsor money? Is it getting more Penske? What did it get? I mean, I think Barry got a new crew chief, I believe, right?
Yeah,
When he went over there, or no, they kept the same guy that was there for Harrison's Burton.
did
So
they?
I think so, because I believe that was the theory, was like if Barry went somewhere that Rodney would go with him, and then the Wood brothers were like, no, we're keeping our guy and
Mm,
sticking Josh with him. I could be wrong there, but I think that's what happened there. But I was like, yeah, is this car like better, or is Josh Berry just that much better? And I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. I
yeah,
do think Josh Berry's like really good. I kind of jokingly pulled for him last year because of my attachment to Kevin Harvick's car,
yeah,
but now it's like I'm actually sitting here looking at it. And I'm like, this is like what an awesome story. Like I'm sitting there watching him celebrate that win and just thinking like, man, this is what we watch for, right? Like this is what we want to see. This is the stuff we root for. Is like a guy like this
yeah,
to be winning races in a team that has had one win since Ryan Blaney back in 17, and then before that it was Trevor Bayne. Like so,
yeah,
you know, um, really cool stuff to see. Everyone loves the Wood brothers,
yeah,
and that. So yeah, that was cool, man. Really, really cool.
yeah. I think I I I I remember 4 or 5 years ago, Josh Berry was like on the Dale Jr. download because he was doing the late model stuff or whatever cars he was running, and um, Dale was talking about him and how proud of him he was just from they Dale met Josh on freaking iRacing
Yeah,
and eventually got him in in the late model, and I remember like the comments and everything, and Dale addressed it on the podcast. Is like the comments were like, yeah, get him in an Xfinity car. You have an Xfinity team. And Dale's like, it's not that easy. Like, we're working on it, but you can't just flip a switch. We got to get sponsorship and all this. And
yeah,
then he finally gets in, part time in the Xfinity Series, wins at Martinsville. Full time in Xfinity, he did okay. I feel like that year, or those 2 years that he was there, but good enough to get the Cup ride. And then here he is, 2 years into Cup, winning his
so
first
cool.
race. It's just such a cool story, and I feel like back in the day you probably had more of these, but I mean he's like a what is he like 35-year-old rookie in the Cup Series?
34. Yeah,
34, yeah,
we're
34
you
year
and
old
I are the same
rookie
age.
and getting his first win.
Second
I
year,
just think
second year.
it's yeah right. Um, I just think it's such a cool story and a hell of a drive by him. I mean he went up there and took the lead and luckily didn't have to deal with a late race restart. I mean that was what I was worried about there with like 12 to go when he took the lead.
Yeah, and I mean, I put it in my notes here, but just talking about the future of this team, I think like I don't like I'm gonna call me crazy. I don't think this is his last win of the year. I think they could do it again.
Yeah.
They've had it's not like this was just a fluke. Like
No, yeah, I agree.
they've been running really well at every race to start the season, and like they've shown that they have speed. And I kind of looped all this together in our notes here, but like Penske's like a little bit of confusing right now. Like the fact that Barry and Cindric were the class of that entire shop this week is crazy. Like I mean,
It's
Cindric was another
interesting.
guy who was
Yeah,
who
he
was
ran
running
really
really well
well.
all race. I think he won the first stage, right?
I
And
believe so.
yeah, so yeah, he won stage 1, and then um, didn't have the best finish in stage 2, but finished 6th place in the race. So like, that was that was kind of cool to see that Cindric and Barry were the guys, but like also a little concerning. Like, I mean, Ryan Blaney's luck has been terrible, and Joey Logano doesn't have like a top 10 yet, and he's the defending champion, which is crazy. So, you know, I'm ready for his championship in 2025 again
Right.
for sure. I think he's off to a perfect start to win another title.
He is the Owen
Um,
Mays of the Cup Series.
yeah, I really look forward to it. I'll put my bets in tomorrow for it because, um,
That's how
you
it
know,
goes.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think
but
it is definitely going to be fascinating to watch the 21 team here for the rest of the season. And see, I mean, they're obviously in the playoffs. It's like, how far can they go? Like, are we talking about a round of 8 for the 21? I mean,
right.
I don't think that's super unrealistic to say right now.
With the
With
way
how
they've been
good they've been
running,
running, yeah.
yeah, I
Um,
think. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to bring up. I wanted to switch topics. Do you have something more on Penske?
Oh, I just want to say one thing about the 21 car.
Yeah.
It seems like every win by the 21 car in my lifetime has been so exciting in
Oh
some way
yeah.
or another. It was Trevor Bayne. It was like, obviously before that you had some Ricky Rudd and Elliott Sadler wins, but like even go back to the Elliott Sadler and the 21
Yeah, the
win at
Bristol.
Bristol forever ago. Yeah, right. So, but like it was like for me, like really the ones I remember most. The Trevor Bayne was electric, his first start ever, first time they won in a while. Um, Daytona 500, obviously huge deal. And then
Yeah.
it was Ryan Blaney, that awesome Pocono race where he battled Harvick, where he didn't have a spotter, right? Remember his spotter radio was broken?
Oh yeah.
So he's literally like racing against Harvick for the last like 4 laps of the race, trying to hold one of the best drivers in the Cup Series off. And Blaney was either in his I think he was in his second year, or I don't think it was his rookie year. It might have been.
I can't
But
remember.
either way, he's trying to hold off Kevin Harvick with no spotter at a track where like that's very important.
Yeah.
And then Harrison Burton, getting the win when his dad's in the booth, getting the big shove from Parker Retzlaff. That was electric. And then this
That
one, Josh
was.
Berry's first race ever. Like it seems like every win that happens in the 21 car is just like the greatest story,
Yeah.
that we've seen in a while. So it's pretty cool.
And
Pretty cool. But now,
all four of the most recent winners there for the Wood Brothers are B names.
oh,
And also we've only had B winners this season, so it's the year of B's.
all
Clearly.
right, Alex Bowman, get ready to win.
Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher, Kyle
Homestead.
Busch, Carson
Yep.
Hocevar announced he had a silent B at the beginning of his name.
Yeah, I'm
on
sure Bubba's
Twitter.
like, can it be first names too, or
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, it's been an
Chase
interesting
Briscoe
season
as
so
well.
far. Chase Briscoe, yeah. And speaking of Chase Briscoe, I guess yeah. Speaking of, this is a good segue. Speaking of Chase Briscoe, I wanted to bring up the Christopher Bell deal where they had a loose wheel, and the awareness of that team and Christopher
Yeah,
to pull into the 19's pit box. I mean, like,
I don't know if I'm the only one who learned you could do that this weekend, but
well,
like
I
I learned
feel
that.
like in the first season of this next gen car, this may have happened, but just the awareness to Christopher said he doesn't know where his teammates' boxes are, and he just saw the 19's thing out of the corner of his eye, so he just makes his way over there, and then the awareness, the communication, they must have communicated with the 19 team to know which tire to tighten, because you could see the tire changer kind of goes to the right side, and then he comes back and he's on the left front. Like, how does that communication work so quickly and so well
Yeah,
that they
you're
can
right. That's a good point.
just pull into the box, and then yeah, they just know what tire I mean, how does that even happen? Do you have an engineer up on the box like sending a message on Slack to the 19 guys, and they just happen to be paying attention to it, and they can
Right? Because like
communicate to the
you
pit
got to
crew?
think they're not. Do you think they're just a button press away to communicate with the crew chiefs? Because I don't think so. I
I
don't think
think
they
they're
have some like
probably
fancy, complicated soundboard like F1, right? Like,
on like Slack throughout the races.
yeah.
And then
That would be
obviously
insane if it was literally like someone just like left front in the Slack, and then that's how it got communicated
yeah,
to the pit guy. That would be pretty wild.
I mean I've thought about this so much because it's fascinating that they were able to make that work so well. it has to be that. That's the only way I can make sense of it, because they can't do like a radio call. That takes too long. You
Yeah.
know, like it must
Yeah,
have
I
been an
mean, we're
instant
talking about a
message.
matter of seconds down the pit lane, right? Like,
Yeah,
not even.
it must have been Slack or Microsoft Teams or whatever they use. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, and then but see, but even with that, like you would have to have the 19 guys like looking at it. Like how
Yeah, and
does
like the way that they kind of, it was almost like they almost like were kind of expecting it too, like
a
the
little
like because
bit,
you got
yeah,
to think once Briscoe stops done, like they're just gonna go put the guns down and kind of like, okay, our job's done here, high five,
yeah,
whatever, like
right,
but like the fact that they were still there and alert and aware is just, yeah, you're right, all around just good teamwork there and good stuff by everybody. That was a new thing. Like I said, I think I learned that you could do that
yeah,
during this race.
yeah. And I mean, going forward, in their pre-race meetings, they're going to talk about where their teammates are now, because
Yeah,
if that happens, now everybody's going to be aware of it. And some people said, they didn't like that. That's unfair. I do like that. I think that's, if you can fucking work that out,
yeah.
that's you're going to the tail end anyway. Because also it's safer to do that than back up down pit road and go back to your box.
Or to go out on the track and to
Right.
risk that thing
Exactly.
coming off on your way back around, and then you're going to get people suspended for
Yeah.
weeks, and you're going to get a big penalty and pay a bunch of money and whatnot. So like, I'm on board with it for that aspect too. Where if that stopped a tire from rolling off a car when it got out on the track, I bet Kyle Busch wished he would have stopped in Austin Dillon's box.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So like, I'm I'm okay with it because yeah, it was a cool moment of teamwork and whatnot, and um, you know, cool cool to
Yeah.
see. And we didn't have a tire running off, and Christopher Bell doesn't have to worry about people being suspended for 4 weeks, and yeah,
Yeah. And I mean, he's at the tail end of the field anyway. So
yeah.
I
So
think some people were saying like that shouldn't be allowed. Like, what about a single car team? Like, where's Ricky Stenhouse going to pull in, right? But Denny made the
yeah,
point on his podcast, like, well, the single car teams all have like contracted pit crews, so if it's I don't know where Ricky the Stenhouse group, I guess they get their pit crews from Hendrick. I don't know, maybe, or RCR,
you
but
would think so, something
whoever
like that.
whoever they get them from, they can pull in there and tighten them. So um,
Yeah,
yeah, cool little quirk there. On the topic of pit road, lots of loose wheels this week.
yeah.
I don't really know why. Like, this reminded me of 2022, like the first year of the next gen, where we had wheels coming off constantly. I mean, are we just at a point where the pit crews are so on a knife's edge and so in a hurry that this is happening?
I do kind of think so. I think, with the importance of track position, especially somewhere like Vegas,
Yeah,
like
it was
I
big.
think every pit crew was pushing as hard as they could to get the cars out as fast as they could, and even the guys who might be able to look and see like, okay, well, we're not, statistically as good as some of these other teams, but let's, we can ramp it up this week. Like that's kind of where I look at like the error for Kyle Busch, right? Like you got to think. I don't know if this is actually true or not, but you got to think the Gibbs and the Hendrick guys are probably more put together as pit crews, right? So that right there's 8 cars you got to think about track position wise. So like
Yeah,
if we can just step it up this week, get our crew to be on top of things, we need to jump some of these people. So we need to be better than some of these people that are in the bigger teams with more practice and time to practice, and maybe better pit crews. And um so I think that's where errors like that happen.
yeah,
But
they're just pushing
yeah,
the limits.
exactly. And with track position at a premium, it makes sense. But yeah, it causes for some of those unfortunate situations where tires are flying off.
Yeah, so
I
let's
think.
talk about like this season as a whole, kind of what drivers do we need to be concerned about, like after these first, what have we done, 5 races, like.
Yep. Yeah, I think I put this on here because I saw this as like a Twitter thread, and I found it very interesting, and the comments were absolutely useless. So I figured that you and I could provide a little more of
Yeah,
our own intake on it, and not just retweets fueled with hatred. So
yeah,
um, yeah, I was mainly just looking like, with the season where it is so far, who are you saying already like, oh man, these guys need to get it together and quick? I'll start by going on. For me, it's easy. It's the 54,
yeah,
and I think it's the 6 as well. I think Brad's had a really rough start to the season. I think with the speed that RFK show at the end of the year last year, everyone was kind of hoping that would just roll right over. Busher's been really, really good, but Brad has just not been off to a good start. He sits in 30th in points right now, and it's just not a great start to the season. Ty Gibbs, meanwhile, 34th in points,
Yeah.
which is just of all the full time cars, he's third from last. Where he's only beating Cole Custer and Cody Ware as far as full time, and somehow Jimmy Johnson is beating Cody Ware still. Just wanted to point that out. I
Good
see
Lord.
that but anyway,
that's
but
a
like
that's a
those
jump
are my
scare.
guys. Who do you see as your guys who you're like, man, these guys need to get it together?
Yeah, so Martin Truex Jr. in 41st place. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I just read that question before we went on it, and the two names that really jumped out to me was exactly what you said, the 54 and the 6.
Mhm.
I did see a tweet about Ty Gibbs. He is 2 races away from being the longest tenured JGR driver to not win a race.
Wow,
I think he's at 76 starts right now with no win, and the record is 78 by JJ Yaley, I want to say.
wow.
And I don't know if he actually ever did win a race. You might know better than me. It seems like he didn't. Seems
I
like
don't remember, to
maybe
be
he got
honest.
axed after the 78th race on that one, but
We know that won't happen to Gibbs.
well, yeah, he's not going to get axed, but yeah, just I mean, they have just I think they actually ended up finishing 20 something, 21st, I want to say at the end of the Vegas race, so they were able to claw back, and
Second, yep.
that's probably their best finish in a
Jeez.
long time. So yeah, they've I know they have a new crew chief, and yeah, you just don't know what's going on with them. Like they've had some good runs, and um you think last season they had a few good runs, and you're like, oh, maybe this could be the day Ty Gibbs wins his first race. But I know these races are hard to win, man. But yeah, if you're that team and you just saw the 21 win twice and you didn't, that's probably pretty annoying, and just
Yeah.
puts the pressure on more. I think it puts the pressure more on his team, right? Because like you said, he's not going to get dropped. Um,
No. No,
yeah,
he does need to perform, and I don't think Joe's going to not hold him to that same standard. But I
yeah,
think obviously there's a little more
he's got
leeway
a
there
little
when it
bit of a
comes to
longer leash, but I mean,
yes,
you're not going to go 3 seasons without a win, and I mean that fourth season. I know it's the grandson, but I mean
especially if Briscoe comes in and gets a win this year, then it's going to be tough on him
yeah,
because
I mean we got to
Briscoe's changing teams, he's changing manufacturers, he's going from a team where he ran in a mid to top 15, top 10 car to now having a car that can compete for wins week in and week out. And if Priest can, or I'm sorry, if Briscoe can come in here and just beat Ty Gibbs to that race win,
yeah,
that's going to be crazy.
and
And I think
I
it could
expect
happen, to
that.
be
Yeah,
honest.
I expect
Yeah,
that.
I think that will happen. I think Briscoe's done a pretty decent job adjusting, even though he's 20th in points off to a bit of a slow start himself there. Um,
Yeah.
that obviously there was that little bit of adjustment. I think I talked about that in our preseason show. So
Yeah, a couple more guys. As I'm just looking at the points, and thinking about how the races went. Think about Spire Motorsports and how well Hocevar and McDowell have done. Do you
mhm.
even know who's driving the damn 7 car? It's
I
like
it's
the 7 car
barely
has been
Justin
nowhere.
Haley.
Justin Haley, 28th in points. He's definitely
Yeah,
he's definitely got to
with
step it up a little bit, I think.
Rodney Childers as his crew chief.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think I think Rodney said they probably had a fourth or fifth place car this week, but just didn't work out with the strategy and stuff. So I do
yeah.
think they'll turn it around. I'm not as panicked about them because of the Rodney Childers factor. Um,
Hmm.
Another one, obviously, scheduled tweet: Austin Dillon, 32nd in the points early on.
Yeah.
I think maybe some people need to start talking about, like, could this be his last season? I mean, is that extreme
There's been
to
those
say?
rumors going around, right, that he's going to get some higher up position at RCR, and someone will take over. I see that someone being Austin Hill eventually.
Yeah,
Um, which you know,
yeah,
okay, a bit of a parallel move in my eyes, but
yeah,
I think you may be onto something, and I'm sure those rumors will start circulating mid-season like they have for the last
yeah,
2 years. So we'll see what happens there, but
yeah.
yeah. So kind
and
of
and then just, I mean, I don't know how much we expected from this one, but Cole Custer, I mean, they haven't showed
yeah.
any speed at all, and then
Yeah,
other
for me,
than
it's Gregson more than Custer. Like,
yeah,
because Gregson's like Cole. I mean, we didn't really expect much out of this Haas team
no,
that's
no,
stuck around with one car. It wasn't. It's not like he was going to get like Kevin Harvick's, you know, car from a couple years ago,
yeah,
like and have that kind of good equipment. So I had very low expectations, and they're pretty much where I thought they would be. So
yeah,
I love
last of the
Cole,
full
but
time
that's
drivers, or I guess
it's a
Cody
tough
whatever.
situation. But yeah, I mean, Noah's only 2 spots ahead of him. So there's some guys who are off to a rough start, and it'll be fun to see how that kind of
I
pans
do
out.
think Noah has had some speed, but they just haven't had the finishes. So
Yeah.
I'm less worried about Noah. Although at this point, I mean, I know it's early, but you're thinking maybe he has to win a race,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
if
I
he's
think a
got to
lot of
do
those guys
that,
got to be eyeing up wins.
yeah, if he's got to do that, I don't know if they have the speed to do all of that. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, look, let's do a quick little recap of Australia here. We've
yeah,
been on for a while. Let's switch it up to Formula One. That one I for sure watched. Every bit of sound that I heard was in French. I did not hear a single word of English during that broadcast. So uh, that was interesting. But we got to start off the new F1 season with a rain race.
yeah. That was I mean, I've said it to a couple people. That was like one of the best F1 races I've ever seen. I
It
mean,
was wild.
it had everything you could have possibly wanted, other than maybe if it was on a different track, you'd have some more passing zones because it is really hard to pass there, even in the
Hmm.
dry. I feel like, but
I definitely also wouldn't have like all the rookies and people crashing under the safety car and on their way to the grid. But
well, I did. I feel like
we'll talk about
I
that a
feel
little
like
bit.
that added to it. Like that shows you
It was
how
chaos.
on edge that racetrack is in the rain with the bike lanes and all the paint on the track. I mean, yeah, we can just go ahead and start from the beginning with Hajar crashing out, and that was pretty tough to watch him.
Yeah, tough look
After that, pretty emotional. After that, you work your entire life to get to F1, and then you crash one corner into the
on.
formation lap. So,
Yeah,
um,
and it was cool to see. I noted on here that I loved the Anthony Hamilton thing,
yeah,
seeing him
that
go
was
over.
really cool.
That was cool to see him kind of comfort because that kid was going through a lot, and so I mean that's got to mean a lot to him. The fact that the guy who you idolize, his father's coming up to
Yeah,
you after something like that happens, and letting you know if things are going to be okay. It's not the end of the world.
yeah, because it feels like the end of the world, like
Exactly,
in
and
that moment. I mean,
people are comparing the two with Helmet and Anthony, and I don't like that comparison because like Helmet has to look at it from a business sense, and like you have to hold the kid accountable, but like
yeah,
they're trying to be like, well, Helmet was too hard. No, I mean, you guys, first of all, him,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and
What do you
like,
expect?
yeah, like if Max Verstappen did that, he would say the same shit. Like it would be like that's ridiculous. So
Yeah,
uh, those comparisons I don't really like, but yeah, it was really really cool to see that happen. A couple of the other new guys, I believe, didn't have fun in the rain behind the
yeah,
safety car, and
uh,
then the person I was the most excited to see in Carlos Sainz in that Williams wrecked under safety car as well. So
yeah,
that was a little hectic to begin that race, huh? And then we finally got underway and had you know some racing take place.
yeah. McLaren obviously way ahead right now, and we'll see how long that lasts because
Hmm.
they're um they're releasing this new technical directive for this week in China, with this little mini DRS thing that they have going on. So I wonder how much of their speed is related to that, or do they just have a really good car? But
Yeah.
yeah, they were the class of the field. I don't usually do this for the races. I think I'm going to start doing this for this season because it worked out really well. But I pulled up the track map along with the
Mm.
broadcast. Really cool way to watch the race. Like I had the map on my
Hmm.
computer,
I
and
like that.
yeah, the two McLarens there for a certain point were just gone. Like they were so far ahead of Max, and then
Yeah.
so far ahead of the rest of the field. Like so, even if I think even if they take away their little mini DRS, I think they're still going to be pretty quick.
Yeah. So yeah, I love hearing in the interviews when these guys have really good cars and they just try to act like they don't have a dominant car. I think
Hmm.
Lando was one after the race that was kind of doing that and saying things that well, it's not all about the car, and it's like, well, you know, a lot of the times that helps. And I think you were also quite critical of someone who
Yeah,
saying that a former 7-time champion just had a really good car, and that's all it was. So I'm already, one race in, I'm already tired of Lando Norris, but that's okay. That's just, it's someone's got to hate him. I'll be the guy. I'll
it's
do it.
part of the soap opera of Formula One. We have all these characters, and um, everybody has an opinion on all of them. I mean, I think Lando definitely is a little bit hypocritical with the way he thinks about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we'll see how far it lasts. At this point, he's obviously, I think, the championship favorite. So
Yeah, you got to think so for now, at least after one race, but that's obviously a tough call. But
yeah, let's
it'll be
see.
interesting to see what teams kind of do going forward. We had Lewis's Ferrari debut. That was kind of, for me, that was really cool.
Yeah, I see you have on here. His Ferrari debut was about as Ferrari as it gets. I totally
Yeah.
agree with that. Um, the radio chatter between him and his engineer. I guess you were in French, so you wouldn't have been privy to all that. But
They
it was
did put when they would put the little windows up where like they showed the communication
uh-huh.
in text. That was in English because I think it was still the Sky
Right. Okay.
broadcast. So I got a little taste of it, but not a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like they may have to switch the engineer for Lewis to like an English person or like a Brit, like because there's clearly some disconnect with how they're talking to Lewis and how he wants to be talked to. Like I think
Yeah.
Lewis wants somebody to be pretty decisive and you know tell him how it is, but they were talking about like the overtake button and they're telling Lewis like, hey, overtake's available, try to use it, and Lewis is like, I know it's available, I'm not close enough. And they're like, okay, well, you just press K1 button. And he's like, I know, I will use it. I'm not going to use it right now. And they're
Yeah.
just going back and forth about that. And then Lewis asked about the rain later in the race. This clip was going around Twitter, but
Oh, I saw.
Lewis
Yeah, I
is
saw
like,
this.
is there any more rain coming? And the engineer's like, no, just this. Maybe. Let's see. Like,
Stay
that's,
out for
yeah,
now. Like
yeah,
he's like, I
that's,
don't understand you, man. Like,
it's just not decisive enough. And, you know, I think Lewis, if he wants like an English engineer, then I think
yeah.
he probably should get it. I know that's not how like Ferrari operates and stuff, but I don't know.
Hopefully
Maybe
that
I'm being
gets
extreme.
ironed out.
This was the first race, so maybe they can get on
Yeah.
top of it, but
Yeah.
not a
Iron that
great
out a little
start.
bit. Yeah. As a Lewis fan, it was obviously fun to see. Tough race. I think he finished 10th, so he scored
Yeah.
like a point.
Uh-huh.
You know, I saw an interesting thing leading into it that apparently maybe just last season, but if not, it was the last 2 seasons. The team that has locked out the fourth row in the first race of the season wins the constructors trophy. So
Hmm.
kind of interesting there.
That is
But
interesting.
yeah, like with the other teams up front, we saw in Mercedes kind of just did what they thought. I thought Antonelli, obviously, he was the best um, debut guy, mainly because he didn't crash, but also because he had like a phenomenal race. He was back there
Yeah.
for like a good part of the race. He was back in the back of the pack. He charges all the way up and stays strong and just like continues to improve as that race goes on. Winds up passing Albon in that clip that's gone everywhere late in the race in the
Yeah.
rain in that corner.
Crazy move.
Very the insane move. But he wound up having a good finish because of that. So Mercedes seems to just be doing okay. Red Bull is Max Verstappen and like I think I put on here is Liam Lawson the new Sergio Perez? Like, is
I
this guy just
mean,
gonna? This
yeah.
guy just gonna? It's I don't know what it is about being the teammate of Max Verstappen, but like it just makes people look like they don't know how to drive. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I know the conditions were tough and
Yeah,
it's only been one race, but yeah, I mean he was the worst rookie on speed. I mean, I think he ran behind Bortoleto for most of the race in the Sauber. So yeah, I think China's going to be an important race for Lawson to just finish inside the points and not be a knobhead.
yeah. Um, so it's yeah, that'll be interesting to see going forward. I hope he does all right because you want to see obviously that second driver there go, but it's crazy that the trend lately has just been like if you're in that second car, you just struggle. Albon and all these guys, and so yeah, it's pretty wild.
I think I don't know. I think Yuki Tsunoda would have done pretty good in that car, but I know it's only been one race. So China's coming up. It's a sprint race. It's at 2 a.m. my time, 3 a.m. your time. So I'll be watching that the next morning.
Absolutely.
Try to stay off my phone. That's the tough thing about that. When you watch it the next morning, you have to
That is
just
the hardest
throw the
part.
phone in the trash can because of the spoilers. But yeah, sprint race should be cool. I'm
Yeah, I think
excited.
it's the first time back to that track in a little while, right?
They went last year for the first time.
Okay, the last year.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
that's
I
what it was.
believe that was a sprint race also. I want to say it's a cool track. I'm a fan. You got that long back straightaway, so yeah, this will be a real test for McLaren as well. I think to see if they really do have the dominant car because this is
Yeah, and if we get a dry race,
yeah
all bets are off. Like let's really see what everyone's got. So
yeah
yeah, that was a good start to the season, I think.
yeah definitely. I think we may have covered everything here, Ben.
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
Cool. Well,
Quick
yeah,
little F1 recap.
we'll wrap. Oh, let's do our prediction for Homestead. Who'd you have last week?
Uh,
I meant to go check.
they didn't win. I think we should do it where we only get a point if they win. So like you're up 1-0 on me. If you call the leader, that's how
Okay.
you get a point.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
So I think you picked Bell again. Oh, I picked
I did.
Larson. That's
I
what it
did
was.
pick Bell again. Yeah, and you had
Yep.
Larson. Yeah, okay, that makes
Yep.
sense.
So
For
I had high hopes
Homestead,
throughout the day. Larson looked pretty good.
yeah, I think they had the best car, and they just they let one get away there with the strategy. But that was like a CRS race at the end. I mean, it's like, what do? I mean, because they pitted
Yeah.
for fuel, but then it didn't end up mattering. So, yeah. In any case, for Homestead, I'm gonna pick Tyler Reddick,
I think that's a good pick.
previous winner.
Yeah, he's always good there.
Yeah.
Let me think. I'm gonna go a little under the radar.
Okay. Josh Berry.
Not really. No, well, that'd be sick. Yeah, back to back. Yeah. No, I'm gonna say I think Chase Elliott can get it done this week. I think he's been, like I said,
Oh.
quietly just running okay all season. He's always fairly strong there, and I think he can get it done.
Jordan Bianchi has just unsubscribed to our podcast.
Good. But yeah, there's Chase Elliott. I think I think Hendrick's got speed. We all know that. They're all doing really well in the points. And
Yeah.
he's just kind of been quietly having a good start to the season, and I think they're gonna make a little noise this week.
All right, so Tyler Reddick and Chase Elliott, two good picks, yeah. So
Yeah.
should be a good race at Homestead. Bummer that it's not in the playoffs, but that's a great racetrack.
know.
So
It
should be a good race. Hopefully this new TV direction works out. I'm actually really excited about that.
And hopefully moving to March doesn't bring rain.
Yeah. Well, it is Florida,
We'll
so
see.
yeah.
Exactly.
Well, thank you guys for listening. Yeah, I think this was a good show. Thank you to Cody and Aaron for showing up here and giving us some of their time. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the podcast, leave a review, all that good stuff. And yeah, we will talk to you guys on next Wednesday.
Peace.
See you.